Greg Heffley found dead by Jean Belcher. Plainview is in shock after the second murder has occurred in Plainview Middle School within a 2-week period. The killing happened between 12:30 and 1:45 p.m. Tuesday, March the 18th. He was found in the Plainview Middle School storage building, though his cause of death was deemed to be blunt force trauma with a claw hammer. Circumstances are uncertain due to a bomb detonating near his corpse after the murder had taken place. The bomb was short range and damaged very little more than Greg and his immediate surroundings. This is unacceptable. My husband knew my son was getting death threats but did nothing about it. Susan Heffley. Greg was always a creative and sweet boy, says Susan Heffley. He put so much heart and soul into all of his journals. I plan on publishing them soon. The creative genius sadly had his life cut short on Tuesday. The details evidence goes deeper than a hammer and a bomb. Both of Greg's hands were missing after the bombing, though that could be a result of it. The real troubling news is Greg allegedly received a letter from the handyman, an infamous serial killer who terrorized Plainview in the late 90s. Damn, R.I.P. Greg. Tuesday. Today's Greg's funeral. Even though it wouldn't change what I did, I wanted to go to get some closure. But no, Susan left without me this morning. I called a taxi so I could get to the funeral on time. As soon as I arrived, Susan turned around and screamed, "Get the flip out of here, you murderer!" That's it. I want to talk to my lawyer tomorrow. We're getting divorced. I've wanted to leave her for years, but I stayed so I could be a good father. I know the courts tend to favor women, but I'm going to try my best to get custody. My sons deserve better than a mom, so petty she won't let her husband attend his own kid's funeral. Tuesday. I just got back from Greg's funeral. I thought I would feel better afterwards, but I don't. I can't believe Greg's been gone a whole week. He was my best friend. Dad's been trying to make me feel better, but it's not working. I'm sorry about what happened to Greg. But, yeah, I'm sorry, man. Several mornings I wake up and wonder when Greg's coming over, only for reality to hit me, and I remember he's never coming back, especially not when his death is due to my own failure. If I told Dad the truth, I know he would tell me guarding the door wouldn't have saved Greg, but I know if I was there when Greg needed me, he would still be alive. Wednesday. Today Mrs. Heffley invited me over so I could take what I wanted from Greg's room. She said taking his stuff is what he would have wanted. The only thing I wanted was a photo album with a bunch of pictures of me and Greg, but I knew taking only that would make Greg sad. So I took all his video games and stuffed animals. Even though I didn't want it, I took his case folder too. Maybe if I show it to Dad, he can help find the man who killed my best friend. After I left, I could hear Susan crying as she waved goodbye. She told me I was the best friend her son ever had. I feel sorry for him. Who would want me as a best friend anyway? I need to stop thinking sad thoughts. Greg wouldn't want that. After I got home, I showed Dad Greg's crime notebook. He looked through a few pages before making a phone call and driving away. Dad didn't come back, not even at dinner time. Mom says he just went to work, but he wasn't supposed to work today. I've been trying to think about other things. I put all Greg's video games by the TV, put Greg's stuffed animals next to my bed, and I don't know what I want to do with the photo album yet. It seems too special to put with the others. It's bedtime now. I hope Dad will be back when I wake up. Wednesday. Good news, Dad's back. The folder has some really important evidence, and he was just taking it to work. They were so proud of me they let me have sugary cereal for breakfast. You might have just given us all the evidence we needed to solve the case, Rowley. Good job. After that, Dad took the day off so we could go to the amusement park. Most of the rides were too scary, but it's still the happiest I've been in a long time. The only thing that isn't making me happy is Dad telling everyone I found all the clues. It's not true. Greg found all of them. He deserves credit too. Thursday, Dad took me to work with him today. He wanted to tell me everything he could about the mystery, but he also told me I wasn't allowed to tell anyone what he told me. He spent all morning explaining stuff, like how the camera tapes inside the club was stolen and how 4 other people went into the storage building around the time Greg died. I didn't really understand anything until lunch when he said, the only remaining suspects are Kieran Nern and Agatha Hernandez. Whoa. Dad told me they took both of them in for questioning. He doesn't think they're gonna say anything that could link them to the murders, but it's worth a shot. Friday. Nothing really worth writing about happened today. Dad went to work and I stayed home with Mom. The only thing related to the case is both Mr. Nern and Mrs. Hernandez refused to talk, and after 24 hours, they had to let both of them go. I just saw Mrs. Hernandez drive up to her house. She looks upset. And I want Tiz to find Greg's killer, or just wake up and realize this was all just a bad dream. It's almost bedtime. Well, I hope something happens tomorrow. Mrs. Becky killed by the handyman by Marina Ida. The beloved Plainview Middle School teacher, Mrs. Becky, was murdered by the handyman. When Papa Tony heard a scream outside, he ran to see someone beating Mrs. Becky with a wrench. She was then taken to the hospital where she died from the beating. The attacker was believed to be the handyman due to the use of maintenance tools and a clear attempt to cut off her hands. The attack happened on Friday at 8 p.m. If you have any information that could lead to the handyman's capture, contact the authorities, and please report if you receive a letter from the handyman. Both Greg Heffley and Mrs. Becky received them shortly before their deaths. Monday. I just got out of school. It was horrible. Greg was my only friend and he sat next to me in all my classes. A couple times I would say something only to remember the chair's empty. The worst part of the day was second period. It was Miss Becky's class. I cried the entire period. Worst thing of all was until Mr. Nunn gave her a detention, Patty would go over to my seat and laugh at me for crying. You're crying over your boyfriend Greg. I didn't know you were that pathetic, Rowley. Wait a second. Mr. Nunn is one of the prime suspects, and I saw Mrs. Hernandez at the time of the killing, and Patty is with him alone right now. I turned around and ran. I knew she was already there, but maybe he hadn't tried anything yet. Without thinking, I yanked the door and ran inside. Mr. Nunn was holding a crowbar. I tried to turn around, but he started slowly walking towards me, saying, Would you like to be my friend, Rowley? Gulp. I was too scared to run, but I also wanted to know the truth. I knew Greg would have been brave if he was doing this for me. Knowing that made me brave enough to say, Why are you doing this? Is it hurting innocent people? Why did you kill Greg? My name is Kieran Nunn. I am 35 years old. But you don't want to hear about that, do you? You want to hear about the killings. It all started in 1991 in the town of Dorio, where I got my first kill. I was an ex-girlfriend. It was easy to lure her when nobody could see us and slit her throat. Before I disposed of her body, I got off her hands to keep as trophies. From then on, I had an uncontrollable urge to kill. All of my targets would be women about my age. As always, I'd cut off their hands to get more souvenirs. But in 97, one of the bodies turned up, and I was one of the suspects. So I packed up my stuff and moved to Plainview. I continued my killings, but while killing people closer to my age was more satisfying, it was far more difficult than picking off my students. After a few years, I decided I would wait until the dust settled before returning to Dorio and starting the whole cycle again. But the week before I would announce my move, I saw Jamal with his head stuck in the chair and decided I would make one final kill. But before I left, I had no idea I would draw so much attention to myself. I should still be able to return soon. Only have to remove one more loose. I think this guy is based off Yoshikage Kira from part 4 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because pretty sure like this they had like a similar monologue or whatever. Before he could even finish talking, I picked up one of the chairs and threw it at him before slamming the door and taking off. Even though I had a big head start, Mr. Nunn caught up with me before I got off school grounds. But when I got to the woods, he was less than 10 feet away from me. I don't think I would have made it if I didn't run into Mr. Heffley while he was on a walk. Mr. Heffley, help, please. I didn't have time to explain what was going on. All I did was yell. It's the handyman! Before Mr. Heavily turned around and he ran at Mr. Nunn and hit him in the face. Even after Mr. Nunn dropped his crowbar, Mr. Heavily kept hitting him. Nothing made him stop, not even when Mr. Nunn started crying and begging for him to stop. I thought it would finally be over when Mr. Heavily called the police, but Mr. Nunn tried to run the second he took his eyes off him. When Mr. Heavily caught up with him, he pushed him right in front of an oncoming truck. The handyman is dead. Plainview is finally safe. John Arbuckle. Wait, so isn't that the guy from Garfield? Correct me if I'm... Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the guy from Garfield. I haven't watched that show in a long time, though. On Monday, March the 31st, the infamous serial killer known as the Handyman was killed by Frank Heffley, the father of one of the victims. Though Frank is getting prosecuted for killing, the entire town is rallying outside of the courthouse in his support. I'm so glad all his victims have gotten the justice they deserve, and I will stand by my dad no matter what, says Roderick Heffley, the brother of Greg Heffley and the son of Frank Heffley. The prosecution refused to comment. Nobody else would bring my son and over 20 other people to justice, so I did it myself. Bro, top 10 aura moments, bro. Thursday. Tomorrow's my court date. I'm not worried about being found guilty. Almost every news outlet in the country has been covering Mr. Nunn and his murders lately. I've agreed to most of the interviews I've been offered. A vast majority of the press I've gotten was positive. My lawyer told me all I have to do is treat is as a self-defense, and I'll win over the jury. Even though I've done all I can to tell the world about Greg, I still feel deep down it's not enough. Some pathetic tabloid even tried to run it around and accuse Greg of being a real killer. I shut that down in a matter of hours. Susan and I are still in discussion about our divorce. I should have done it years ago, but I was always afraid she would take the kids. I've never felt like I was the best father, but I'll be the best father I can to my remaining sons from now on. July. Mr. Heffley's trial ended today. He was found not guilty for the murder of Mr. Nunn. I helped him out as a witness. The prosecution didn't even try. I guess they were just happy to see so many people brought to justice. Lately, I've been helping Dad solve other crimes around Plainview. I've only solved 3 so far, but that tells me 3 cases can make all the difference. Don't have much room left in my diary, so I've decided to finish it off with a tribute to an amazing detective and my best friend, Greg Heffley. Best friends.